trustees have a tradition of naming rooms after ministers who've been here a long time and made an outstanding contribution. Clearly one room wasn't enough.
Martin was always so very generous in leadership, releasing gifts in people that he was working with, gifts that we have and gifts that we haven't got as well, to be used in the kingdom. And woe betide if we had it up slightly skew or if there was an out-of-date poster.
Well, first of all, all sort of events, big social events, I always like to try and say a word of thanks to the background team and to Gareth and Earl for putting on such a lovely buffet. And I feel slightly embarrassed, I have to say, but also pleased and touched that this is a space to bear my name. Thank you so much. Martin's letter officially telling me about this said, I quote, "It would be great, Martin, if you could speak for a few minutes, perhaps reflecting upon your ministry here and the changes that took place on your watch." Well, it's always a danger to ask a preacher to speak, and an even greater danger to ask them to speak for a few minutes. But let me reflect on a particular word. I want us to think this afternoon about teams. You've honoured me by naming these rooms after me, but anything I achieved was never down just to me. It was always down to one of the various teams who I worked with in the 14 years that I was here. And the first team was the Trust. And it's good to see Jenny back here, who is chair of the Trust, and Mickey here. And they are the people responsible for the building and for enabling the mission of the church through a very generous grant each year. And I was one of the original trustees, long before I was superintendent. And they were not easy meetings. They were dreadful meetings, in fact. And the change in the way that the Trust works now is unbelievable. Much of what the trustees do is background stuff, some of it like governance, pretty boring. But ultimately the Trust finances much of the church work and all the building work. They've worked tirelessly to upgrade this magnificent Central Hall from being the slightly shabby and run-down building it was when I came to the fantastic venue it is now. Their role is too easily overlooked. A special word of thanks to the present chair of trustees, the president designate, Mickey. I know that she was always concerned that all the spaces here are named after men. And thank you, Mickey, for so graciously allowing another man.
An A on the ending.
And then the second team here is the company, especially Paul and Tim. The integration of the company, the trustees and the church has meant that everybody here works together as one team. And what a difference that's made. But without the company, there's no profit. Without the profit, there's no cash. Without the cash, there's no changes. So thanks to the company for driving forwards towards excellence in all that's offered here. When I arrived, we were on the verge of being shut down by the fire department. The Bloody Sunday inquiry was a terrible inquiry, but we were so pleased it was here because it generated a large sum of money, which meant we could meet fire and disability access legislation. And since then, time and again, in every area of the building, they've worked to create the magnificent spaces that we all now enjoy. In that journey, our conservation architect, Simon Ablett, who can't be here today, has played a crucial role. And he and I found a friendship and also a shared vision for all that the hall might be, and a common love for this building, later backed up wonderfully by Karen Parkinson. So many changes were enabled. Friends used to wonder how, as a minister, I could spend so much time and effort on a building. But I loved it. I love antiques and architecture. Thus it thrilled me when I saw the nicotine stains of a century cleaned off the pillars and the wonderful marble shown, when what looked like bathroom toilet lights were taken out of the lobby area and beautiful reproduction Edwardian lights were put there, to see the chapel created from the old bank, to see the art around the building and the tapestry at the front of the Great Hall for worship, to see the platform reshaped, the organ rebuilt, the Great Hall remodelled, to see the cafe brought back to what it should be, to use the basement area for the St Vincent's Family Centre, working with our own Catholic colleagues, to see the creation of a visitor centre and all the welcome offered there. A building Methodism can be proud of. What a great team effort. And then the third team I want to flag up is the church team, because I never led this church alone. The whole time I was here, first with Malcolm White and then with Tony Miles, I led as half of a duo, where support, wisdom and love, and sometimes a restraining hand, were always offered so very freely. And what wonderful wider teams there were on the church side. The office team, marked by Ollie's laughter. You could hear it down this end of the corridor. Hope it doesn't disturb any of the lettings when they put it there. The ministerial and staff team, so gifted in specific areas. The music team, thrilling and leading to a sense of the presence of God. The circuit and church stewards offering encouragement and support through a time of a great deal of change. And the wonderful congregation, inspiring through their faithfulness in coming to worship and their earnest seeking after God. What a great team the church team were to work with. And then the fourth team is the smallest team. It's the home team. We all worked hard here, so my work level was no more or less than my colleagues. But it meant I was out on long days and evenings most days of the week, and that was a big cost to Biddy. As was, in fact, the fact that there were periods when I came home quite down, and periods when I came home tired and stressed. But Biddy's always been there supporting and encouraging me, as for the children, whether they were living at home or away. They thought I was okay, and that was what mattered. I couldn't have managed without the home team. And then the fifth and last team is the biggest, strongest and most loving team of all. It's God's team. I never had any doubt when I came here that I was in the right place. For God had kindly given Biddy and I two amazingly clear words of prophecy that we were to come here. Then at a particular time, when at the beginning of my ministry here things were very hard and I wondered if I would last, God gave me time and again a particular text from the Bible. Jeremiah 29 and verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. That word given from different people in different circumstances, time and again, kept me going. And then, of course, as Joan said, we saw God at work week by week, seeing people come to faith, find healing, move on in their Christian lives. The blessing and growth which came in my time wasn't because of any gifts or graces of mine. It was because God was at work, and you can't organise that. It's a gift of God's grace, for which I was so thankful. Let me finish. If naming this suite after me is a testimony to what God can do in an ordinary minister across 14 years, I'm indeed very thankful. Thank you very much for the honour. But I don't kid myself. One day I'll be gone. One day this space might be renamed after some other worthy. Perhaps a female word. One day this building might not even be here, but the lives that have been touched and changed in my time are the real and lasting legacy. I don't say that to belittle this lovely thing today, but they're the real and lasting legacy because they've been touched and changed because all of us here have been part of God's team. It's a team of love. It's a team where anyone and all are welcome. And it's a team that you can join if you choose to do so. The Martin Turner Suite. Who would have thought it?